Happy New Year to all of you, and I'm really thrilled that you're all here today. My name is Patricia Wickman. It's spelled like Patricia, but pronounced Patricia. Like I always do the tree there's a tree in there. So, and I'm a certified Ayurvedic practitioner. I studied at an Ayurvedic school in Milwaukee for 3 years to get my certification. And that was 2 years to become a practitioner, and then I did an additional year to learn how to guide people through Panchakarma. So I'll be sharing some of what Panchakarma is with you today. I do want you, I am emailing, or I either emailed or handed you out a handout on the mono diet because I wanted you all to leave today with something you could do for detox. So that mono diet cleanse, anybody in this room will benefit from doing that. There are, you may want to check for certain counterindications, but in general, this is just the healthy eating and living guidelines that are good for everybody. And then as we go throughout the lecture today, you'll see that Ayurvedic medicine is pretty specific about who should do what during detox. It's not a one-size-fits-all program. It's very specific, and in its specificity, it becomes more effective for who you are. We all are individuals. Some of us here may want to lose weight in 2014. Some of us will not benefit health-wise for losing weight, but we might not want to lose weight, but we feel that we have toxins and we want to rid ourselves of those toxins. Maybe some of you are feeling like the analogy I use often is that your flower is wilted and that you just want to perk your flower back up. So maybe some of you are feeling run down and just want more vitality. So in the course of speaking today, I want you to kind of take a real self-analytical standpoint in a kind way. That's the difference between, typical resolutions and Ayurvedic living is that Ayurveda comes from a place of acceptance and love and kindness toward yourself and gentleness. Not like, oh my gosh, I ate whatever and drank whatever over the holidays and I'm so ashamed of myself and I have to just start over, I want to invite you to come from a place of love toward yourself and kindness. Okay, so that first question on the outline, or the first thing I wanted to talk about were toxins. That we all know that we have toxins in our environment and in our food. So what are some of those toxins? Can you think of any offhand toxic things that we're exposed to?
Like caffeine?
Caffeine, yeah, ooh.
Sugar.
You're advanced. Most people don't want to admit that one right away. Sugars, yeah. Like
in everything.
Yeah, especially the white sugar that's been chemically refined several times before it gets to us. What other toxins? Salt, lots of sodium, good. Keep thinking. What about alcohol, good. What about heavy metals that we're exposed to? Think in terms of environmental things as well. Pollution, yes. What else? I've got pesticides here, plastics, preservatives in our food, parasites that are in our food, and then jet fuel. I always think like the airplanes flying over all the time here. Jet fuel, stuff that's in our clothes when we buy them at the store. They've been sprayed with chemicals, and our furniture has fire retardant in it that's toxic. What did you say back here?
I was just thinking like zinc, or like a lot of the iron and stuff in the tuna, just
mercury, yeah, in seafood.
Yes,
very good. Toxic metals. So we definitely have toxins around. Now, And we already mentioned some of the food toxins. A lot of processed food, canned food, boxed food has toxic material in it in terms of things that keep it from, anti-caking agents and preservatives and all of that. Trans fats. Does everybody know what a trans fat is? Do you know how to identify a trans fat on a food label?
You can't understand it.
Yeah, that's good. It's like, what language is this on this food label? It will say hydrogenated whatever oil. Anything that's
Or it
hydrogenated.
won't be on there because if it's a certain percent, you don't have to report it.
Right.
You can actually eat trans fats and not know it.
Yes, there are some lenient kind of food labeling laws. But in general, if you are avoiding things that come from a box or a can, you're pretty safe in terms of the trans fats. And then, what about artificial sweeteners? Nobody mentioned like NutraSweet and what are some of those other, aspartame. Aspartame is in diet soda. That's a really big one. That's been really interesting for me as a practitioner to see how many people are really addicted to diet soda. And I think that the addictive component to it is the aspartame in there, and that's a very hard one for people.
That makes me think
take.
of that, you've heard about the red dye 40 or
Right.
something like that. My
Food
daughter's
dye.
ADHD, and I know that was part of it too, and just trying to keep her off of stuff like that.
Absolutely. That's been clinically proven in very in-depth studies that the link between food dyes and hyperactivity. So that's in everything. It's in our dog and cat food. When I discovered that, I'm like, why are we putting food colorings in my cat's food? What were you going to say?
Well, two things for me, but I'm highly sensitive to MSG.
MSG.
But that's not just, I mean, you can't really find it on the labels because it's just so buried in everything. And I don't know, GMOs, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
that's right.
genetically modified, that's controversial. So.
Yes, absolutely. And I do a lot of education on the MSG thing. If you just Google pseudonyms for MSG and kind of memorize that list, because they're like autolyzed yeast extract and some of these like soy proteins and everything are MSG. They just use a different name on there because they know people don't want MSG anymore. So I did have that on my list here. That's a big one. Okay, highly acidic foods also are considered toxic in Ayurvedic medicine. There's this idea that an acidic internal environment leaves our body susceptible to diseases and illness. So part of being on an Ayurvedic program is thinking of alkalizing your pH. So having alkaline foods, favoring alkaline conditions over acidic conditions. Okay, so any questions so far, or any other ideas about toxins? So, and if anybody does tend toward OCD, and that can be a very scary discussion to talk about all the toxins in our environment. So kind of do a little clearing on yourself, because it's like we don't want to live in fear. That's not part of what I want to promote. Okay, so some of the symptoms or signs in us of having levels of toxicity, and this is a spectrum, right? You can be a little bit toxic or really toxic. So think of yourself when I list these signs and symptoms so that you can sort of determine where you are on that spectrum of toxicity. So if you regularly have constipation or loose stools, that's a sign of toxins starting in your digestive tract. Bad breath or a bad taste in your mouth. Coating on your tongue. That's a big indicator in Ayurveda. If you look at your tongue and see yellow coating, that means that you do have some acidity and inflammation in your gut. White coating indicates excess mucus in your gut. And I'm getting the ooh. We will talk a lot about bowels and stuff today, so just be forewarned. And then If it's a white coating, that indicates what we call vata dosha in Ayurvedic medicine. I'm not going to go into real deep detail about the doshas, but there are 3 main doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. And you can tell which kind of toxins you have, vata, pitta, or kapha toxins, by observing the coating, the color of the coating on your tongue. So I hope these people figure out how to get in here, because they can't see us, we can see them. Okay, so, and hopefully they're coming to this educational meeting. Okay, so coating on the tongue, fatigue. Fatigue can have other causes, but one of the causes of fatigue could be toxicity. And holding extra weight around your belly. Feeling bloated after you eat or any time during the day. Skin rashes, skin disturbances, acne, eczema, psoriasis, blistering. Those are indications of toxicity. Itching, swollen hands and feet, breast tenderness and swelling around menstruation. Also PMS is a sign of toxicity. Allergies, headaches, attention deficit disorder. Then we get into the idea in Ayurveda is things start in the digestive tract and then they move into the deeper tissues. And once you have things going on the nervous system level, that means that it's pretty evolved toxicity, and that's going to look like attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, lack of memory, lack of concentration, being in toxic relationships. So you start to notice things kind of manifesting in your outer world with your relationships, having negative emotions, and psychological imbalances. So I love that. We don't often talk about the emotional, psychological, and spiritual aspects to toxicity, but in Ayurvedic medicine, perpetual negative thinking is considered that you're in a state of toxicity. Okay, so any questions about that? The itchy, there are certain things that kind of are indicators for high candida in the body, and the skin issues and the itchiness, yeast infections. That would be like signs of, you know what that is, candida. So it's when the negative flora take over in your body and the positive flora are overwhelmed by the negative flora. Any comment? Okay. So how do you pick a cleanse that is right for you? I already mentioned this mono diet cleanse is just a pretty general tridoshic cleanse. We'll go through that in specificity, but also taking into account your doshas. And I'll just do a little explanation here of that. Vata, the vata dosha, if somebody has a vata dosha imbalance, they're going to be tending toward emaciation and depletion, feeling run down, low immune system, hypothyroidism, depletion. And so to take somebody who's in that state and give them a real strict minimal regimen that's real depleting is going to only make them more depleted. So a person with a vata dosha imbalance needs to be a cleanse that's going to be building them up and nourishing and rejuvenating. Does that make sense? We wouldn't want to take, a cancer patient that's real weak and send them through some crazy cleanse that's going to make them even more weak. Okay, so then pitta dosha. Pitta, if you have a pitta imbalance, that's where you're going to start seeing like the indicators of high acidity in the body. Indicators of that are any kind of inflammation, like I said, yellow coating on your tongue, and the candida, I often associate that with pitta. Like in any skin issues going on, that is an indication of pitta. And so the detox for a pitta person is going to be the alkalizing program that I was talking about. And pittas don't tend to be as depleted as vata dosha people. So they can stand for, depending on the pitta person, because pittas can get burned out and depleted. But for the most part, they're pretty strong. So they can withstand a little bit more of the depletion therapy during cleansing time. And then kapha people tend to be overweight and have disorders of excess. So too much mucus, too much fat, just feeling sluggishness. So vata and kapha can be run down, but the kapha sluggishness is more like this heavy, way down, couch potato type feeling. So they can stand during Panchakarma, they stand to do more of the depletion type therapy, and they benefit from having a practitioner that can really motivate and get them moving and working out and being more active. So do you have any questions? That's really kind of revolutionary. We don't often talk about different people and different circumstances and what kind of cleanse is right for them. So is this totally new information? The dosha component? Yes.
Just a note on the acidic foods, is that just like citruses and tomatoes?
Okay.
And wine?
Let me list off some of the acidic foods because everybody benefit. We have a very acidic driven diet, most of us. So acidic foods include anything that's tomatoes and tomato based. So salsa, spaghetti sauce, these are acidic in nature. And I have a brother-in-law from Ecuador, and they eat salsa like every day. And I'm like, good thing there's cilantro in there, because cilantro is alkalizing. I'm like, that cilantro is saving your life. So anything tomato-based, and then like Edie said, alcohol is acidic. And citrus fruits are acidic. But there's a special thing in Ayurvedic medicine where limes are not included. That's another thing that's saving my brother-in-law. Is the lime, when you squeeze lime over your food, it neutralizes the pH of the food. And lemons too sort of have that, but not as much as limes. So lemon and limes are wonderful. If someone's real pitta, you want to go more toward the lime than the lemon. Other acidic foods include vinegar and anything that's sour, any sour fruit, like a green apple as opposed to like Honeycrisp, but the green sour apple is going to be more acidic in nature than the sweet. So when you're choosing fruits, you want to pick, often fruits are sour when they're not quite ripe. So you want to pick fruits that are ripe rather than unripe. Like pineapple could be real sour and acidic versus the sweet version of a pineapple is less acidic. So let's see, what other acidic substances am I forgetting? Is anyone thinking of anything that I've forgotten?
Coffee considered?
Coffee and black, green, and white tea are all lower than a 7 on the pH scale. Do you know about the pH scale? 0 is super acidic, and 14 is very basic, and 7 is right in the middle. That's neutral. Coffee is a 5 on the pH scale. So that is, pouring acid into your body every day, basically. Why is that bad? Like I said, when you have an acidic environment, good bacteria, the good flora, they don't thrive in an acidic environment. They thrive in a neutral or an alkaline environment. So once the good bacteria in your gut are kind of overcome by they're in an acidic environment, so they can't really feed, they have nothing to live on, and so then that's when the bad bacteria start overtaking the good bacteria. And so that's why, that's one of the main reasons why acidic foods are discouraged when you're doing Ayurvedic detox. Okay, and why don't we want bad bacteria to take over? It leaves our immune system susceptible to illness and disease, and like I was mentioning, the yeast infections and other kinds of things like that. Okay, so you want to consider your dosha when you're picking a cleanse. And then I have specific cleanses that I guide people through. I have a women's cleanse, which is for people who have like menopausal symptoms or PMS or infertility or hormone imbalance. That's a really specific one that I've seen that, it's been amazing. Like people who've been infertile for a year, 2 or 3 go through the women's cleanse and then they get pregnant. It's been really amazing for me because I just learned this in school. Then I started, here this is, go ahead, try it out. And then when I saw that it worked, I was like, whoa, that is really great. Okay, I have a candida cleanse. I have a ginger treatment cleanse that I guide people through that is for people who are struggling with low metabolism and slow digestion. And then there's the big Ayurvedic cleanse, Panchakarma. Okay, so a good cleanse should heal and repair the intestinal mucosa without you having to take laxatives, modify your diet, eat more vegetables. So the idea is once you go through this cleanse, or you do it, seasonally, that's the ideal, is you do a cleanse at every change of the season, then your digestion just keeps working well. Or some of us may need just to do a reset, just hit the reset button on our digestion. And then it should heal the villi in the small intestine. So you know what your small intestine is coiled around. It's 21 feet long if you stretched it out, and it's lined with these fingers called villi. And these fingers grab nutrients from your food as your food passes through and takes it across the wall of the intestines and into your bloodstream and into your lymph. So if your villi are not moving well, if they're mucked down with toxins, that's going to compromise your body's ability to absorb nutrients from your food. So a good cleanse should take, your villi that might be like that wilted flower and perk them up and help them to move better. And it should, your lymphatic system, do you know what your lymphatic system is? Does somebody want to just throw out, what is the lymphatic system? What does it do?
Is your immune system?
It is linked to your immune system, absolutely. Anybody else have any ideas?
Does it expel the toxins from your body?
Yes. It helps with detox. Any other ideas? Think of it as your body's sewage system. So it carries all of these waste materials, and it takes it to the sewage processing place where everything's kind of taken care of. Those are your lymph nodes. You have little nodes all along your lymphatic system where toxins are destroyed, or your lymphatic system carries the toxins back into your blood system, and then via your liver and your blood system and your kidneys, the toxins are excreted. Also your sweat. So urine, defecation, sweat, and that's all via the blood system, which is helped out by your lymphatic system. So a good cleanse should improve the functioning of your lymphatic system. And what is interesting, I was talking about the small intestine and the villi, that you have lymph tissue just inside your small intestine and just outside your small intestine. So your body's defense system, your immune system is ready. It's like, what did Patricia just eat? Oh my gosh, she just had a trans fat. What do I do with it? All of that's processed, in the small intestine, in that lymph, area. It's a very important part of our bodies. That little half-inch of lymph is very important because it sorts through what did this person just bring in from the outside world, and what do I have to do to keep her living. Our bodies try very hard to keep us healthy. They do the very best job they can do given the circumstances that we give them. Our bodies are really smart, and they do want us to survive. So, the cleanse should help your lymphatic system do its job better, and it should help remove feelings of being heavy, sluggish, congested, swollen, gassy, achy joints, skin rashes, and other things. It should help alleviate those things. Another big thing that a great cleanse should do is sever the gut to stress response. Do you know what I'm saying, even if I don't explain it? Stress to gut response. You know, it's like we experience stress in our work lives or whatever, and who has had the experience of like having a really stressful set of thoughts, and then you feel butterflies in your stomach, and then maybe have some sort of digestive, negative digestive reaction to the stress in your world, your mind and your spirit. So a good cleanse should address those stressors that are at the root of some of the malfunctioning of our digestive tract. And let's see, a good cleanse should also thin the bile. It should make your bile more thin. So there's a liver component to a good cleanse. And it should reset your digestive strength, your metabolism, so that you can burn your foods that you eat and process your foods that you eat really well. So that's the idea in Ayurvedic cleansing is, you want to reset that metabolic fire. You want to kind of press pause and then reset so that you can move on and not be, just lugging more and more toxins around with you. Okay, any questions about what a good cleanse should do? And it should also enhance the functioning of your colon as well. We'll talk about that when we get to our picture section. Okay, so Panchakarma means 5 sense therapies. And so we're talking about a cleanse that improves your sight, your hearing, your smelling, your tasting, and your sense of touch, which is also revolutionary. We don't really talk about that stuff in relationship to detoxes typically, but if you think about those senses, these are how we are interacting with the outside world. So it's really important to keep them functioning as optimally as we can. And I suppose maybe when you're, and I'm nearing 40, but you start to think about that stuff more as you age. Like, wow, I really like to be able to hear people when I'm having conversations, and it's helpful if I can see when I drive. And so doing Panchakarma enhances the functioning of all those things and helps slow down the aging process. Okay, so on that flyer that I sent out already mentioned some of the benefits of Panchakarma. What were some of the things? Like, it increases the glow and luster of your skin, strengthens your immune system, reverses the effects of stress and aging, it enhances your strength, energy, and vitality, flushes toxins, helps the body heal itself, which is really good for the immune system, reduces your dependence on alcohol, tobacco, coffee, and drugs. So this is also a very helpful thing if you are struggling with some sort of addiction that you don't want to have anymore. How I view Panchakarma is that I just you take your hand as you're going through the process and lead you. I always envision, I've lived in Spain for a year, and I always dream back to this moment where I was in Segovia and climbing these steps in the castle, and you just climb and climb and climb, and then you get to the top of the castle. The stairs are very dark. You can't really see out at what you're doing, and then you come out and you're on top of the castle. Maybe that's what that person feels like that lives on top of that hill. Get out on your roof and you're just like, wow, and you can just see this amazing view around you. That is the experience of Panchakarma that I've noticed in other people, that it's like you don't know. It's almost like we live kind of in this mundane, this is how I function every day. And Panchakarma helps you step out of that everydayness and look at the view around you and realize how good you can feel when you're taking good care of yourself and eating well and doing some of the other practices that we do during Panchakarma. So, and one of my most amazing things as I've guided people through it is the psychological and emotional and spiritual component that comes up during Panchakarma. That, you know, I had somebody realize that they were holding this long-term grudge against their mother and realized he really needed to forgive his mother. Other relationship issues, people gain clarity on them. Or if people are, you know, struggling with other psychological things, it's like you just get clear. You get very clear about what's going on, and you receive insight during that week that you're going through Panchakarma, so that you can, you know, kind of move forward and get out of your ruts and evolve. Okay, so, all right. Statistics of Panchakarma I might share later if we have time. I really want to get, there are certain instances where you should not do Panchakarma. And even if you're just going to take today and do the mono diet cleanse at home on your own, I would avoid doing that during your menstruation. Lactation, I don't know. But my sister was breastfeeding. I said, go ahead and do the mono diet cleanse because it's just, you're eating healthy every day and you're avoiding chemicals. So how could that be bad for your breast milk or your baby? But the big Panchakarma, I don't recommend you do that when you're pregnant or lactating. If you have cancer, melanoma, HIV, extreme obesity, hypertension. I guided somebody through with hypertension, so that's another. There are some little gray areas here where the practitioner and the person decide together what's the best way to proceed. If you have congestive heart failure, real emaciated, any kind of infectious disease, or angina pectoris. So there are certain instances where you wouldn't want to go through the full Panchakarma. Okay, so let's open that slideshow, and I'm just going to describe Panchakarma. And again, I want, no matter what your budget is, who you are, everybody's going to have that the mono diet cleanse instructions that you can just do at home on your own, no problem. And then you can go up, depending on what your budget is, how much hand holding you want for your detox. You can go all the way up to the big Panchakarma. I'm going to explain the whole process of Panchakarma with you knowing it is an expensive process to go through, so it requires some budgeting and some, financial planning to go through it. But you can do the whole Panchakarma, or you can just do like a mini cleanse, like the mono diet, and come in for a massage. There are ways that you can do this for whatever budget you have. Granted, the organic foods for that week long are more expensive than regular foods because you focus on organic and ideally local foods while you're going through the cleanse. So, I want to get some feedback. How are you doing with this, what I'm saying so far? Does it sound, there will be some things, I'll just say it ahead of time, when I start describing exactly what you do during Panchakarma, where you might be like, whoa, but it's Eastern, remember it's from India, And also remember, I've guided dozens of people through this, and they've survived and they loved it, ultimately.
Survive, that's good.
What are you going to do to me, lady? Okay, so are you sharing with somebody, or do you have your tablet out?
No,
Try that one. Yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Looks the same.
Okay, so let's see. So go to the place that has the ghee. I saw someone go, what's that?
There it is.
Ghee. Okay, so again, remember this is from India. Indians revere the cow. The cow is sacred for Indians. And ghee is the most refined substance that you can get from a cow. So this has been used for thousands of years for Ayurvedic detox. And what ghee is it's clarified butter. If you've ever gone to a restaurant and had crab, and they bring out the crab sauce that you dip the crab in, that is ghee. It's butter that's been boiled until the milk fats separate, and the milk fats are removed and strained out, and what you have left is clarified butter. And ghee is used during the cleansing time, and this is not part of, during the mono diet, you'd have like a teaspoon of ghee per day, but during Panchakarma, you take ghee in increasing amounts for the first 4 days. So you take 2 teaspoons in the morning on the first day, and then 4, 6, and on the 4th day you take 8 teaspoons of ghee. And why? Does that just seem bizarre to you? Especially, I'm guiding someone through in January who doesn't have a gallbladder, so we might have to adjust a bit, because that you can't support fats, eating fats as well when you don't have a gallbladder. So there are, oh no, where'd my ghee go? How do I get out of here? How do I escape out of here? My play mode. Okay, so the ghee, the idea is for ghee that many of those toxins that I mentioned, the heavy metals, the pesticides, are fat-soluble toxins. These are toxins that didn't escape your body when they should have, and they've gone through the colon process, but then there's something that happens in the colon where certain things are brought back up into the hepatic system, back into your liver system, and then your body has to figure out what to do with these toxins. And many of them are stored in fat cells in your body. So fat and water don't mix, right? So if you go to the store and you see this colon cleanse thing on the shelf, many of those are water-based, and they're not really going to get at the fat component that's at stake with these toxins. So what ghee does is fats bind to fats, and fats repel water. So when the ghee, you're taking all this ghee in increasing amounts, what it does is it beckons all of these fat-soluble toxins to come out of the cells and come back to the digestive tract. It's like a vacuum cleaner that's just, making all of the toxins gravitate back to the digestive tract so you can have another chance to actually get them out of your body rather than having them stay in your cells. So that is the scoop with ghee, and it's a magical substance. We talk a lot in Ayurvedic medicine in terms that scientists would just are there any scientists in here? She's talking about magic. I want to see evidence. But there are now more and more evidence-based studies coming out on Panchakarma. It's been practiced for 5,000 years, but now people want evidence-based, proof that what they're doing is going to work. But we say ghee is a magical substance, and it does things in your body that you need it to do. So you take ghee in increasing amounts on the first 4 days of your cleanse, and then on the evening of the 5th night, you take castor oil. And I forgot to put a picture here because you mix it with pomegranate juice or grape juice. a strong juice that disguises the awful, awful taste of castor oil. And this is also something for thousands of years people have been taking castor oil to purge the toxins from their small intestine. You take that in the night, and then some people experience cramping with that because it's a purgative. Do you know the difference between a laxative and a purgative? Laxatives are more gentle. Purgatives if you've ever taken a laxative, they weren't really laxatives, they were purgatives. Most things that are labeled in the stores as laxatives are actually purgatives, like senna leaf tea. Has anybody done that? That's an actual purgative. It just makes you have very quick and complete bowel movements. So that's what the castor oil does. Some people will get up at 3 a.m. and have their first bowel movement, but most people just in the morning, they'll wake up and have like 3 soft bowel movements and then maybe a few more throughout the day. So day 5, you want to be at home near a toilet. In general, you want to plan for that to be on a Saturday or Sunday or some day that you're taking off of work so that you can kind of take it easy. It does make you pretty tired. It's quite depleting, depending on your dosha. The last time I did this, I felt very tired the day after I took the castor oil.
Excuse me?
Yes.
So, like Hope, she's a vegan. How would she participate in this?
There are other ways other oils that we can use if you're vegan. Yes. That's a very good question. And I have had some vegans kind of step out of being a vegan momentarily just to do this because it does work and it's worth it. Okay, so the next one, so during this time you are doing the mono diet essentially. I give you, all the recipes. That's something too, that you ought to have recipes to go along with that. I can email you the recipes. The main things that you're eating during this time, you're doing a spice mix and a tea blend that I make for you based on your constitution and your bowel tendencies. So you're sipping a quart of herbal tea a day, and you're using a spice mix on your food, and you're eating a dish called khichdi most of the time. Khichdi is an Indian comfort food dish that Indians just eat regularly, like their mac and cheese. If only our comfort food were as healthy. So khichdi is some kind of grain. It doesn't have to be rice. That's what the usual one is, rice, but you can use millet or quinoa or amaranth, whatever. And then it's split mung beans, yellow split mung beans. And you have to order those. I haven't found any grocery stores that carry organic split mung beans here yet. So you have to order those. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just use the organic French lentils. And those are readily available at Whole Foods and H-E-B in their healthy living section. So it's grains, lentils, and organic vegetables. And then you use the cilantro. Cilantro pulls heavy metals out of your cells too, so it's a great detox vegetable. And then the lime to neutralize your pH. So you eat khichdi for 8 days. I have tried to follow this up to 30 days, and I've had other people do it for longer. So you don't have to just stay within that 8 days. Some people just realize how great they feel on this, and then they start eating like that most of the time because it makes so much sense to eat, little beans and grains and whole foods. So you eat this. Some people are like, I don't want to touch khichdi again until my next cleanse. I'm so sick of that food. Don't make khichdi for me. Don't make me eat any more khichdi. It's kind of like the Jews in the Old Testament eating manna. It gets to be like that. It's very the same thing every day. But I have some soups and you have hot cereals for breakfast during Panchakarma. So you're not just eating khichdi, but it's your main meal. Any questions about khichdi? I'll be sending you the recipe so you can just start on that. You can do that at home on your own anytime. Make khichdi. That's kind of the first step, is learning how to make khichdi, gathering all your ingredients. Okay, and then on the 6th day, the day after your big purge, you come in to my office and we do 2 hours of treatments on that 6th day. And we start it by doing a little ceremony. I gotta watch the time. Hope said you gotta be out of there by 10:30. So you do we do what's called puja, which is like a ceremony. And what I do is I have people share this before they even start the cleanse so that I can be engaging in the healing process with them. So I say, what is your intention in going through this cleanse? And it can be anything, like I want to lose weight, or I want to lower my cholesterol, or I want to forgive my mom, or I want, what are some other things that you want in your life that you know, things that are holding you back that you just want to shift and evolve and change? It can be anything. I want more vitality. I want to be a positive person. Whatever it is, you say what your intention is, and then we have this ceremony where we really talk about your intention. And this can be an emotional time. It's kind of shocking when you go through cleanse. It makes things surface. So it's like the tide is out and you can see all the stuff that's on the bottom of your ocean. You go, oh wow, I've been trying to hide that. Or, oh, that's still there. I didn't realize that. Or you might discover, boy, I forgot how much I love myself and how wonderful my core essence is. So it can be very emotional this time. It's a very profound process. So we take a little bit at the beginning of the ceremony to sort of talk about things, and then I make a special bracelet for you to remind you of your intention, to keep in your drawer or keep it on. I had a man go through it a couple of years ago, and I saw him like a year later, and he still had he wore it as an anklet, and he's like, I need a new one. It was like all tattered. So I make a little bracelet to remind you of your intentions, and I express my intention, which is pretty similar for everyone, and that's that I feel I have a calling to help people experience joy in their bodies and in their minds and in their spirits. And so that's my intention. And for being a practitioner, I just feel like life is precious, and I really want to help facilitate people being in a space where they are loving their life and not taking for granted being alive. And sometimes things that hold us back from enjoying our lives are pain and toxins, and so Panchakarma is very good for addressing those things that hold us back from experiencing joy. Okay, so we have that ceremony, and then there's a whole smorgasbord of treatments, and I plan, there are some basic ones that I do for everybody, and then based on your constitution or what you need, we'll throw in some extra body treatments that are specific to your situation. So everybody gets abhyanga. That is a Sanskrit word that means loving hands, and it's a warm herbal oil massage. And any of you can come in anytime for any of these individual treatments. So don't feel like just because you're not going through the full Panchakarma, you can't experience these wonderful things. This is a lymphatic massage. It's full body, and I even work around breasts, and I do a lot of work around the gut during that massage. And it's pretty light touch, but it's to help keep those toxins mobilized during your Panchakarma, and then ultimately help with the elimination part. Okay, so abhyanga, And then everybody gets steam therapy, except, there's some counterindications for steam therapy, but this is a tent that fits over the massage table, and it induces sweating. Your head is not in the tent, which is wonderful, and I put ice rag. For those of you who are pitta and you're like, heat, that sounds awful, I put an ice thing behind your neck so your head doesn't overheat. So you sweat a lot, you detox a lot in the steam tent. And it really helps with arthritic conditions. People who don't go through Panchakarma, who just have arthritis, they come for steam because it really relieves the joint pain. And skin conditions as well. Okay, then everybody gets Shirodhara as well during Panchakarma. Shirodhara is kind of the iconic Ayurvedic thing. When you Google Ayurveda, you often see people lying down and getting oil poured on their forehead. That is Shirodhara. And it's 30 minutes, and I just drizzle oil. I use a pump, and I just drizzle oil over your forehead the whole time. And I didn't experience this during training, and right before I left Wisconsin, there was someone who wanted to learn so she could keep giving Shirodhara to people in our community, and I had her give it to me. I'm like, now's my chance. So she gave me Shirodhara, and it was like, oh, now I see why people are in a total trance of bliss when I give this treatment, because it's so gentle. I thought it would be like you're getting hit with the oil, but it's like really gentle. And it felt like I had like angels just standing at my head with their hands on my head, just comforting me. It's really amazing. This is a very spiritual thing too. People will share very neat experiences after having Shirodhara. One woman had she could see her spirit before her parents came together, and then just the love that brought her into the world. She had a pre-birth experience. And then another person just saw a golden eagle fly over him during it. So Shirodhara is really, really a neat therapy. It balances hormones, and it is there have been a lot of studies actually on Shirodhara. It dilates the vessels in your brain and induces deep, deep states of relaxation. If you don't see a golden eagle or have a pre-birth experience, though, that's okay. I always say don't expect anything. Just go into this totally open, and whatever happens is great for you. Okay, so the first day usually is Abhyanga, steam, and Shirodhara. That's kind of the general thing that people do. The second day we do all the ear, nose, and throat therapies. So this is the day for people with allergies or sinus issues. This is a wonderful day. I do lymphatic massage from here up, and then you steam. You just get a facial steam with eucalyptus to clear all of your ENT channels. And then you get on the massage table, and I insert oils into your nose. Every orifice gets oiled during Panchakarma. So you get the oil. I say on my Facebook status, I'm going to go stick some ghee in someone's nose. So I derive odd pleasure from doing these therapies. But the idea there is also that you have toxic buildup and the fats bind, and so you can, release the toxins that are clogging the facial channels. And also you want to create the lubrication in your nose. A lot of sinus issues are due to chronic dryness and inflammation. So the oils really help with that. And the way that medication traditionally was administered for brain issues in Ayurvedic medicine was through the nose, because these are the closest holes to your brain. So they have herbs that you ingest through your nose, not cocaine. But it is a way to administer medications and get at brain issues. So headaches are treated through the nose using oils. Okay, let's see. This one, the next one, Udvartana, I don't do on everyone. I do this for kapha people. It's a weight loss thing, and I take this paste and I scrub really hard. Like I get a workout. I'm sweating when I give this one. And I just scrub all over your body to get all the sluggishness and like sedentary lymph and everything mobilized. So that's a weight loss one. You can come in for that one again, separate. And then typically if I do this one, I'll put the steam tent over you while the herbs are on you so they penetrate more completely. And then I do the ear one for everybody on the ENT day. I do a massage around your eustachian tubes, and you have pressure points in your ears that if you've ever gone to an acupuncturist, they needle the ears because they have so many pressure points. And then I insert, guess, into your ears. Oil. This one is a fun one. It's oil that's been it's garlic that's been sauteed and then strained, and then there's mullein, which is an anti-inflammatory herb. So garlic and mullein. So this is the part where it turns into an Italian restaurant experience. Now I feel like I'm in Italy. It's very, very nice though, and that helps with tinnitus and other nerve issues associated with hearing, and it also binds to earwax, and you'll notice after, several days after that it helps you get earwax out of your ears. And on that day too, the ENT day, I also do the eye treatment. So this is where I stick, this is ghee. I make a dough dam, and then I stick ghee into the dough dam, and you do eye exercises looking up into the ghee. This is another one where I've been astounded. Like one woman said, the color that I saw when I was looking up into the ghee is going to change the way I pray. She said that color was amazing. And so that's another shocking one where people have, our eyes are really linked to our spirit in so many ways. So it's been very interesting to me to see the holistic things that come up during the eye treatment. And then I have these, after we get done with the ghee and everything, and I actually smoke the ghee out so you don't go away with cloudy vision, then I put some really lovely rose eye drops in your eyes, and it feels so wonderful. That's my mom's favorite treatment. And the ghee softens the lines, the wrinkles around your eyes, so you look like you just had Botox, but you didn't. And let's see. This Marma massage, I've been doing this more and more just in my standard Panchakarma because it's been so beneficial for people. Marma massage is, I do 7 massage circles over 52 different points on your body. So it's very relaxing. This is good. This is one of my most popular individual therapies. People will just come in for Marma massage. What it's good for is like the subtle nervous system imbalances. So if you're feeling like scattered and like you're in a million different places all at once, or just on edge or anxious, Marma massage just like brings you back to your body and just takes all the pieces of you that are scattered everywhere and brings them all together. So, okay, that's Marma. And then Pinda is another one that I typically just do in summer and for people who have pitta imbalances, so the inflammatory situations. That's rice, and it's in a fabric bolus, and it's dipped in coconut milk and saffron and scrubbed all over your body. It is the most luxurious treatment that I give. Decadent. It feels really decadent. And then I usually do some sort of basti at the end, depending on what your needs are. The most common ones, I form a dough dam over your heart. That's a very common one. And low back or adrenals. Those are the two most areas that I feel people need most support. So that is pouring warm medicated oil over the organ that's in need of support. And then I do energy work. Have you ever had healing touch or Reiki, the more subtle therapies? I do subtle, these are to heal the emotional aspects that are at the root of organs that are not functioning as well as they can be. So for heart issues, it's often hurt, love issues, grudges, past sadness. So the heart basti helps with people move through their grief and not be holding on to being stuck in it. And then a lot of people have adrenal fatigue. So I do adrenal support with the energy work that's like rejuvenative and supporting and just adding love and energy, but not adrenal type energy, like really sustaining energy to your adrenal glands. And low back, liver is another popular one, and I'll do people's thyroid, a lot of thyroid issues, so I'll do the thyroid down, depending on your situation. Okay, what's this last one? Oh, that's the heart basti. Okay, so that's pretty much the gamut of all the treatments that I give during Panchakarma. So the second day is ENT. The third day we go back and do Abhyanga, steam, Shirodhara if you want. I let people kind of choose because the last day is 3 hours. I call it the grand finale. And I let people choose their last therapy. Like, what do you think off of this list is the most important therapy for you to have? And we do this big 3-hour extravaganza on that last day. It's wonderful. And then people leave feeling like a new, just new, that's the miracle of Panchakarma is you feel renewed, rejuvenated, like ready to go out and, just suck the marrow out of your life. Okay, one thing that I have to mention during those last 3 days is that you do enemas at home. This is one of the parts is like, I'm never doing that, lady. And then I'm like, well, just call so-and-so who's already done it, and they can kind of talk you through this. It's not as big of a deal as you might think to do these enemas at home. But I make special herbal oil-based enemas that feed your colon, so it's very different than colonics, which is like a water-based, like let's just wipe everything out of the colon. We don't want to do that in Ayurveda because you're wiping out all the good flora. So we want to insert oils that feed the good flora and you don't think of it as like scrubbing your colon clean, because then you're leaving your colon vulnerable. So they're oil-based. There's one on the day 7 that has more water base in it. It's more of a detox cleansing solution. But on day 6 and 8, it's an oil-based nourishing enema. And I included that picture of the colon there. A lot of people's colons, and they told us this during training and I didn't believe it, but a lot of people's colons are so dry that the enema substance often gets absorbed, never comes back out. It's like our colons are starved for lubrication, for that oil. They eat the oil. So that's been really interesting when people do that, and it just stays in there. So we get at the small intestine, colon. I haven't guided anyone through this part yet, but I did learn it in training. For people with lung issues and asthma, you actually have them do vomina therapy, where you induce vomiting. And I've been scared to guide anybody through that. But I'm not so scared now because I have a client that's that's using Vamana to deal with some of the lung issues that are going on, and it's working really well. So I'm not so scared. She had an Indian person though that actually gave her the instructions and final, this is how you do it. So I was like, okay, for someone with asthma, that would be very helpful. So the idea, again, for all of this is to help you be as radiant and healthy, and it's a very proactive way or perspective on how to maintain health. You know, a lot of us are programmed to, this is wrong, I gotta go to the doctor and get this taken care of. This is like taking care of yourself, ideally before there's a crisis. So it's preventive and non-crisis management oriented. And so I want to allow time for questions now.
So to do this, you said it's 8 days, but how do you go on with your regular life? I mean, how do you balance that in work, kids? I mean, what all? Is it just a couple hours a day up until day 7 when you need to be home or whatever? How does you balance that with everything else?
Yes, that is different for everybody, but I will say I've got a woman that goes through regularly who has 5 kids and is a nurse practitioner, and she's a busy lady, but she just I think she just tells, I gotta ask her, how do we do that? she must just tell her kids, you know, I'm eating a special diet during this. Maybe her husband steps in and does some people's kids will actually go ahead and eat what you eat during Panchakarma, depending on the kid. And then most people, so I did say it kind of wipes you out, and it like that day 5, you want to schedule that when you're not going to go to work. Although I've had people do it and continue working all throughout. So some people are robust enough to just kind of do this and it's no problem. Other people, like I guided someone here through it last spring, she was real vata, real thin, real depleted anyway. It took her about 2 weeks afterwards to sort of recoup. She was really tired afterward. So it depends on the person. It's pretty non-specific, so you don't really know going in, what is this effect is this going to have on me? And you just kind of go on faith that it'll be good. I haven't had any crisis or anybody experience anything real severe, but I have had people not be able to go into work on day 5 or have to come home from work early on that day.
What about the daily time commitment to see you?
Then, okay, so the time commitment to see me is 2 hours on day 6, 2 hours on day 7, and 3 hours on day 8. And I do, when people are going through Panchakarma, I kind of set aside I keep my schedule real open, and I'm like your second hand, I am your right hand. I'm your right hand lady during that time. You can call me during that time, and then I'll clear my evening schedule. If people work during the day, I can meet you, you know, for treatments from 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, you know, whatever you need to do in the evenings. I'm not guiding people through Panchakarma all the time. Usually my work is during the day. So when someone decides, it's a very special thing, like I said, it's $750 to go through the full Panchakarma. So it's a big deal. You know, I really honor that people are making a big financial sacrifice and personal sacrifice when they go through. So I try to make myself available and make my schedule pretty open and flexible so I can accommodate your schedule. Any other questions? You have the mono diet. So if this was just TMI and you don't feel drawn, the Panchakarma is something where it's like people will seek me out and say, I need Panchakarma. It's something people really need to feel an internal drive to do. But you have the mono diet instructions, and I'm going to send you recipes, and any of you can do that anytime you want.
I'm sorry, I have a question. On the mono diet, it says like with nut butters, but not peanut butter. I was just wondering why not peanut butter?
Peanut butter, by some Ayurvedic doctors, these are Indian doctors, they don't consider peanuts a food. They consider them a fungus because they grow down in the ground in fungus. If you just kind of knew how peanuts grew and everything, they're a little bit different than other nuts. So, so they're not really part of the Ayurvedic diet. But I am not peanut free. I eat less peanuts now that I'm doing Ayurveda, but I love peanuts, so I'll just go off when I'm having Panchakarma or what. Sometimes I get peanut cravings, and I feel like some of our cravings are wise cravings, so I try to tune in, like, you know, if I'm having, what was it recently, celery. I could not get enough celery. There must have been, and I'm not usually a celery freak, there must be something in celery that my body really needed. So, yeah, you just avoid peanuts during the cleansing time.
So on the mono diet, I didn't see the ghee on there, but you recommend that you do ghee?
Yes, ghee is, you use that as your oil in the khichdi during mono diet.
Okay.
And I'll send you the recipe for ghee. You can buy it at Whole Foods, but it's so much better when you make your own, and it takes 15 or 20 minutes. And I have a tutorial on YouTube. If you just Google Patricia Wickman ghee, it was before I figured out how to post long videos, so it's 2 different 15-minute videos on ghee making. So you can make your own ghee and use, for kapha people, you don't want to use more than a teaspoon of ghee per day in your khichdi, and vatas need more ghee, and pittas a medium amount. Any other questions? Any other questions? I don't want to rush anybody. So you can go off on your own and do the mono diet on your own. If you want to do the mono diet, but you want to check in with me, you know, to figure out what your doshas are, you can either go through my initial consultation thing, which is 2 appointments, and I make the tea and the spice mix for you. And the 2 appointments, tea and spice mix, are $200. And during that time, we could talk about what kind of cleansing things are appropriate for you and what your doshas are and all of that. So you could go that route too. And you could just plan your cleanse on your own and come in for an abhyanga. So whatever, I just want to be here to facilitate whatever you need as an individual and what your budget allows you to do. So let's take some time to kind of breathe and process. It's a lot of information. So sit comfortably with your spine aligned. And turn your palms up on your thighs and close your eyes. And begin to pay attention to your breathing. Come out of your thinking mind and into your body mind, and just do a body check-in and see how you feel in your body in this moment. Notice any sensations in your body, good, bad, or neutral. And just be present. Let your belly expand and empty as you breathe. Acknowledge that you have incredible wisdom and intelligence inside your own body. your body is programmed to heal and be alive and be healthy. And just breathe, being aware of your limbs, your legs, your feet and your toes, your arms and your hands and fingers, your head, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your nose. Breathe up and down your spinal column. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart and rub your palms together. Cup your hands and place them over your eyes and let the soothing energy from your hands go into your eyes and down your spinal column. And then back up your spinal column all the way to the top of your head. Rub your forehead from the center out to your temples. Circle over your temples. Circle over the hinge of your jaw. Rub up and down the back of your neck. Squeeze the tops of your shoulders. Shake out your hands. And just exhale. We have a built-in detox in every exhale that we take. So if all you do is exhale repeatedly today, you have detoxed. So thank you. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And you know how to reach me now via email if you have any questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.